an Afrikaans and Jewish alliance. My name is Paul Kaplan, and for the time being I'm the convener of what I hope will become a very powerful movement both in South Africa and the rest of the world. This movement will be the Afrikaans and Jewish Alliance. So let's get down to business without delay. The situation in South Africa is becoming more unstable and dangerous by the day. It's now obvious that Black South Africa's first attempt at modern government under the ANC has been a total failure. That instead of the bright future they promised in 1994, they produced little more than a corrupt and failed state that is becoming unstable and extremely dangerous. Until now, the governing ANC has seemed unshakable. Now the economic freedom fighters, the EFF, under a shrewd and ruthless leader, has become a very credible threat to the ANC and obviously has them extremely worried. The EFF plan is to blame the ANC and the whites for the failure of the new South Africa, and their intention is to whip up the despair and humiliation of millions into murderous hostility that could easily turn into violence and savagery on a huge scale. The message of the EFF is that they intend to confiscate private property without compensation, and they intend to nationalize the banks. And of course, none of their brainless followers understand how insane this idea really is. So the EFF mixes this primitive idea with visions of bloodshed, slaughter and land invasion, and this powerful emotion is taking hold of large parts of the nation. Now for the time being our farmers are getting the worst of it, but the rest of us had better realize that we too could very suddenly find ourselves in the same position and the same mortal danger. In short, the attempt by Black South Africans to run a modern state has failed. And the EFF is now exploiting this failure to try to overpower the ANC and replace them as the ruling power. But the EFF does not care a damn if they plunge the whole country into bloodshed and chaos. They want power, and that's how they mean to get it. And this situation could very easily turn into one of the most frightful tragedies in human history. The new South Africa has failed at its first attempt, but the only wise response is for whites and Asians to manage the situation in such a way as to make it possible for millions of decent and responsible Black South Africans to get rid of the ANC and replace them with better people and a better chance of governing properly. Our black compatriots must not lose heart. They must keep moving forwards, and they must keep developing slowly but surely. The last thing they must do is suddenly go off their heads and fall on their backsides by listening to the EFF. On the other hand, whites and Asians should not be stupid enough to try to regain political power in South Africa. Our best bet is to make it possible for the great many wise and hard-working Black South Africans to find better leaders and slowly but surely keep strengthening whatever foundations they have already built for a bright future. That's the only road to a bright future. And in order to convince them that this is the way to go, South Africa's whites and Asians have to demonstrate beyond any doubt that we are not afraid of the EFF and can very easily destroy them with military power far greater than their own. No one should assume that African people are stupid, because with the right attitude they can do anything we can do. Our job is to keep the country steady and let them get on with it. And if we can do this, hundreds of millions of conservative Westerners from all over the world will support us. Never mind if the left doesn't like what we are doing. And this, of course, brings us to the Jews. And we Jews are absolutely crucial not only to the defense of South Africa, but to the defense of the entire Judeo-Christian civilization. We are a nation in very bad philosophical and theological shape because we are riddled with leftist ideas and all sorts of rubbish that comes from 2,000 years of the rottenness of our synagogue. The state of Israel is constantly under attack from the international left, which includes such bodies as the United Nations, Amnesty International, the Human Rights Watch, and any number of other leftist organizations that never stop trying to stamp out Judeo-Christian values. That's their mission, and without it, they would come to a complete standstill. And the shameful truth is that we Jews are the driving force behind most of these horrible leftist institutions. This is because our national credo, the simple and powerful 10 Commandments that comprise our covenant, have been so completely swamped and corrupted by 2,000 years of rabbinical deception that our moral fiber is shot to pieces, and we hardly know the difference between right and wrong. Now, some Afrikaner organizations, such as Suidlanders, have decided to run and hide rather than fight. And they've made elaborate survival preparations for the day the sky falls in. And what do they hope to achieve in the long run? The only possible outcome of burying oneself is to end up committing suicide in some bunker while hordes of howling savages try to dig you out. If the Afrikaners and Jews can stand together for righteousness and decency in South Africa, then we could well become the rallying point for decent and godly people all over the world. If we bet on moral fiber, how can we lose? Afrikaners and Jews are now the front line in the struggle for moral fiber, and that is the responsibility we carry, whether we want it or not. This responsibility is the main subject of the book, God versus the Left. So why not get yourself a copy and give some thought to these very heavy matters. So this is Paul Kaplan signing out, hoping to hear from you. Thanks for your time and attention.